Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Ziggs, how you doing, buddy? Good afternoon to you. We're here with our reaction to Phillipe Clement's press conference today. As he spoke to the media ahead of the game, which is now confirmed as going ahead. It was tweeted out by the club earlier today. This was the tweet that went out. Following a pitch inspection, tomorrow's Scottish Premiership match with Dundee will go ahead at Dens Park, 8 p.m. kickoff. Even though that swamp of pitch doesn't look brilliant. And as we know, let's face it, global warming only affects the blue part of Dundee, not the orange part of Dundee, because evidently global warming doesn't like orange, apparently. I don't know. There we go. I don't know what that was about. Anyway, yeah, Jack Butland's press conference was class. We're going to focus obviously on what Phillipe Clement had to say. I've only been kind of keeping on top of that one. I'm going to watch the Jack Butland one in a bit. I do find it absolutely stunning in this day and age of modern technology why our press conferences don't go out live on YouTube. You look around England and you look at all the English Premier League clubs and you look at a lot of the English Championship club or top English Championship clubs as well, and all their presses are live on YouTube. You can actually sit and watch the press conference. So it's pretty mental, pretty crazy. You know, I've got a friend who's a Chelsea podder, and they sit and watch the Chelsea press conferences live on YouTube. It's just crazy that we don't do our press conferences live on YouTube, and you've got to kind of catch it later once it's been uploaded. It seems a bit backwards to me, but hey, there we go. What can you say? So a press conference that I think coming out, the headline, there are headlines obviously coming out of this presser today. Guys, if you can obviously smash the like on the video, that would be absolutely fabulous if you could. And if you've not yet subscribed to that channel, then obviously please hit that sub, ring that notification bell. It is the best way to keep on top. We've had some phenomenal responses to our videos. Afternoon, Chi. Afternoon, Son. How you doing, buddy? Afternoon, CJ. Afternoon, buddy. Giving the Scotty Arfield salute there. Look, it is not the best news coming out of today's press conference and for what that could actually mean for the team for tomorrow night. Let's start off with the headlines from that press conference. Before we talk about this more sort of, nitty gritty of what Phillipe Clement talked about in his presser today. So look, this is the top headline: is that Ridvan and Diamande are out. They are not available for tomorrow. So yeah, a lot of the Premier League clubs and Championship clubs do live press conferences on YouTube. All the NFL teams as well do live press conferences on YouTube. All the NHL teams do it. I don't know why we don't. I think it's a bit backwards, to be honest with you. I think the Rangers media team need to get their fingers out of their arseholes. Anyway, here's the top headlines: Ridvan and Diamande are out. Are out tomorrow. They are not ready for tomorrow. Phillipe Clement said Ridvan Yilmaz and Mohamed Diamande will not be ready for tomorrow's game. Also, that Leon Balogun has been sick in the past few days, so he is not totally fit. It is about others stepping up when players are out. So no Diamande, no Yilmaz, and it looks like as well no to Balogun as well, in definitely out. That's not great, is it? That's not great news at all. So Diamande and Yilmaz definitely out. Balogun is doubtful. That is bad news. How the fuck are that games going ahead? I don't know. The pitch is a disgrace. Just imagine Shrek at Dens Park shouting, "Get out of my swamp." Love it, Geordie. Rosie, how are you? Love the new thumbnail, mate. I hope we are well. Thank you very much, guys. Just before I carry on talking about this presser today, who's joining me tonight for the Fan Interactive, guys? We will be dropping the link so you can come on StreamYard. If you want to come on the screen, come on the screen. If you want to just talk and you don't want your face to be on the screen, just don't enable your camera. Just enable your microphone and you can just talk if you don't actually want to appear on the screen, if you're running from the police or something. I don't know. There we go. Yeah, so no Ridvan, no Diamande for definite. That obviously is a big loss. Following up about Ridvan, he did say that Ridvan is doing individual training at the moment, but he is not back on the pitch with the full squad yet. So that obviously means that it's a decision to take between Borna and Dujon Sterling as to who starts at left back. Now, I know Ben Davies can play there, but Ben does appear to be completely out of the picture, which is fine with me because Ben is not great. So, yeah, it's going to be down to whether it's Dujon or Borna Barisic. I really hope that it's not going to be Borna Barisic because he was awful again on Sunday. I know pretty much everyone, barring Campbell and Seamer, were absolutely dreadful anyway. Hey, Pacer. But yeah, so look, at the end of the day, you know, it is, Stephen, and win is a must to keep in the title race. Absolutely, buddy. 100% agree with that. Geordie, hoping it won't cause us injury. Don't know how the hell it's happening if not stop raining. Yeah, apparently it's meant to rain tomorrow. There you go. So yeah, no Yilmaz and no Diamande. That is bad news. Now the other news is that Balogun is doubtful because he has been ill. So that means so that really basically means that there is absolutely no chance whatsoever that Connor Goldson will be dropped tomorrow. So that is a bit of bad news. You know what? I'm disappointed again. You know, you look at this and you kind of no direct addressing of the whole Goldson question at all in this media conference. I think, you know, even the fan media are petrified of asking questions, aren't they? They really genuinely are absolutely petrified of asking questions of Phillipe Clement. Not because of Phillipe Clement, I think just because of the club withdrawing their press access. So with Balogun, you know, Kevin, you're right on that one. Absolutely, but Rosie. But you know, look, it is what it is. We are going to be stuck with Goldson tomorrow. We are going to be stuck with Tav. We are going to be stuck with Lundstrom. With the fact that obviously that Diamande is still out with his poorly thumb. Jesus Christ! I mean, I'm not being funny, but is it really that bad? Is it really that bad that you can't play a game with a bad thumb? I mean, you don't use your thumb to play a football. I don't understand. If he was a goalkeeper, I could understand why he's out, because obviously that's central part of you actually being able to catch a ball is your thumbs. But he's not a goalkeeper, so I don't know why he's out. Really don't. So it looks like we'll have Lundstrom again. So it looks like it's going to be the same old, guys. We're not going to see any balls from the manager, mainly because he can't. I think genuinely cannot, because there is no other options. I mean, what if you drop Goldson, you play Leon King? Leon King hasn't played hardly any first team minutes this season. Balogun obviously is not fit. Ben Davis is useless. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, isn't it? Sig says he won't be shocked if the game's called off. The pitch is bloody turgid. Yeah, it is awful. You know, he says Phillipe Clement did confirm obviously that the game has been decided. It will go ahead tomorrow at Dens Park. They're aware of the forecast, and they are sure the pitch will cope with that. Interesting. Absolutely, Kevin. Again, he talked very much about the fact that we need to focus on ourselves, go game by game, been the whole thing. He says, obviously, we were unhappy with our performance at the weekend. The players were disappointed in themselves, but it's important we stick together. We've had a debrief on what went wrong and how we can make it better on. Yes, he did, William. He says he's ill. He's been ill most of the week, so therefore is struggling. So Balogun is ill and has been struggling because he's ill. He is not fully fit. There we go. Alistair, Sterling must start a left back. We could have used him in midfield. We could have done. I think that's a major one. You know, not having Ridvan fit is a massive loss. I think we've really genuinely missed him. Really genuinely have missed him. If it's unplayable, they need to forfeit the points. It's getting beyond the joke, says Chris. Look, if it is going to be called off tomorrow, then the game will be moved to McDiarmid Park. The SFA have already announced that. The SPFL have already announced that if it's abandoned at Dundee tomorrow, if the game doesn't take place at Dundee tomorrow, that the game will be moved to an 8 p.m. kickoff at McDiarmid Park. That is what has been announced today. In terms of, you know, Clemons saying they've looked at it, they know what they've debriefed, they've picked it apart, they've done what they can, they know how to make it better. I really hope so. I genuinely really hope so, because there was a lot of soul searching and a lot of picking apart needed to go from that performance on Sunday. It was genuinely not acceptable. It was genuinely piss poor. There was genuinely no effort there. The players surrendered again under pressure. They need to do something. And I think hopefully Clement has got into them. Hopefully Clement has clearly gone through them and had a word with them and let them know that it really is not acceptable to perform like that if you're wearing a Rangers shirt, and it is not the done thing playing for our club. You should fight and die on that field for that shirt. Hopefully that has been put across to them. Clement says every manager has these moments, even with teams that win. It is part of the game. It is not something you want, but the important thing is how you react. And I have a good feeling around that. So Clement is very positive going forward that we can go on and be successful against Dundee and be successful post-split, that he has a positive feeling that there is that he, you know, that he will kick ass when he needs to, and that he would do his no soft touch things. I know he's no soft touch, but to what degree do the players stop listening? I think that's part of the problem. And I think I think certain players within our squad genuinely feel they don't need to listen. I think that's part of the issue for me, is that players like Goldson, Tav, Lundstrom genuinely feel they don't need to listen anymore because they're bigger than the club. I think I get a kind of feeling from it that Tav and Goldson in particular do think they're bigger than the club, that do think that, you know, no matter what they do, they'll get picked. No matter how bad they play, they'll get picked. I mean, Clemons does talk about Tav in the press conference, and we'll come to that point shortly. But my mate Damien Hendry made an excellent point, I think, you know, on our group chat. He said Goldson could turn up to a match in a Celtic top, spit on the Rangers badge, and he'd still get picked. I think he's right. I genuinely think he's untouchable. I think Tav's untouchable. I think Goldson's untouchable. I think to some degree, to a lesser degree, Lundstrom's untouchable. And that is not what you want in a side. You want everyone at risk of losing their place. And it does worry me. If Seema had a sore thumb, would he be outpaced? No, I don't think he would be. Absolutely don't think he would be. Cantwell either. Some players look to have checked out. Tav, Goldson, Borna, Barisic and Roof. Yeah, I think that's the problem, Ziggs. Pressure comes on, they give up. Pressure comes on, they give up. I can change the team. It's always about choosing who is best for the games to come. It's important to manage the squad properly and take injuries into account. Hey, RFC56, how are you doing, buddy? So, you know, he said, you know, he can make changes. He does make changes. He does rotate. I mean, he is famous for his rotation. The one question that I would ask is, why is it only the same players that get rotated? You know, it's never the Tavs, the Goldsons, the Lundstroms of this world that get rotated out of the team. It's the same players picked week in, week out, and it's the same players who get rotated. And I honestly feel that if Big Leon had been fit, it would have been John Suter that would have been dropped out, which I think would have been grossly unfair to Suter, who I know a lot of people don't. I know there's still some Rangers fans that don't rate Suter, and that's really unfair. I like Suter. I think he's a good player. I think he's been our best defender this season. I think he gets a lot of unfair stick from some fans, and some fans that defend Goldson and Tavernier will slag Suter and give Suter all the blame, trying to shift the blame, which I think is very, very unfair. You know, it's about managing the squad properly. Yeah, I mean, of course it is. It's about managing the squad properly. It's about making sure you keep everyone happy, that you keep everyone fit and good to go. Because at the end of the day, you need every single player ready to go. And that is a big one for me. It really is. But, you know, at the end of the day, and I know that's an overused saying, you've got to pick your best team. You've got to pick the strongest 11. And when by your strongest 11, I really genuinely mean the 11 players who are fully fit and in form. And for me, there's a lot of players on that park at the moment who are not fit or are not in form. And that's a big issue. And that's a massive issue. Geordie says, if Balogun is unfit for tomorrow, I'd put Yefeko in for Goldson instead. Geordie, it's a good shout, but I genuinely think there is zero chance of that happening. Like I said to you, I genuinely don't think that Connor Goldson can be dropped, because I don't know what it is, but Tav, Goldson, for me, like I said, they could turn up in Celtic tops and spit on the Rangers badge and still get picked. They just seem to, I don't know, there's something. If Suter had somebody decent at left back and right side centre back beside him, he would be better. Imagine having Barisic beside you in the trenches. You'd want to run away, William. You certainly would. Yeah, I agree. But Suter's a right-sided centre back. And look, I am 100% sick to death of this. Oh, it's not his good foot. He's a professional footballer. He should be able to use both feet. I'm sorry, but if you're a professional footballer, you should have the skill and the talent to use both feet, because you are a professional footballer. So yeah, I get that, but I mean, it's not just about that. It's about positioning sense. It's about movement. It's about covering. It's about reading the game. And you have a natural side you favour when playing. And Suter is more a right side centre back. So yeah, imagine if we had a decent left side centre back and a decent left back. Yeah, it would look a whole lot different. Yeah, so I was just gonna kick this Tim out. We don't welcome Tims here. The obsessed. McCausland should deserve to start tomorrow. I agree, Ziggs. I would give McCausland the game tomorrow. I'd put Seema through the middle, McCausland right, Matondo left, Cantwell 10, and that's how I'd go. I don't think the manager will do that, though. Yefeko is an absolute bomb scare. He gives away goals for the B team every other week. I don't watch B team football, William, so I can only comment on what people are commenting on the live chat. Suter is doing his best. I can see he's actually trying. I agree with that comment 100%. I like John Suter. I think he's a good player. Phillipe Clement says that he said that we didn't do the basics right at the weekend, and because of that, we were punished. Sometimes you need a knock to remind you what you need to do. I think this is a comment that can be taken two ways. One, I think he's right. We didn't do the basics right. We made a lot of stupid mistakes on Sunday. We made a lot of errors. Our defending was all over the place. We didn't follow in on shots. We didn't track runners. We didn't hold the line. I mean, as I said on the reaction video on Sunday, you look at the line. You've got a constant line. It's like Tav, Gap, Suter, Barisic or Sterling, and then Goldson some way behind that line. So, you've got to hold that line. Yeah, the line a back four needs to move as a unit. It doesn't need to move with one man in front or behind. And I think that's another massive mistake. Tav didn't track the runner. There's a lot of basics we didn't do. The passing wasn't sharp enough. There was inaccuracy in the passing. We didn't win enough second balls. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of basics. Yeah, I agree. But at this stage of the season, we cannot afford to be taking these knocks. And look, whatever Phillipe Clement is used to in France or in Belgium doesn't apply in Scotland. You're in a title race in Belgium with Genk and Bruges. You've got teams around you like Union Saint-Gilloise, Anderlecht, Standard Liège. There's 5-6 teams who are equally competitive with each other, who can take points off each other. In France, you've got Monaco, Marseille, Paris Saint-Germain, Nice this season. You've got teams that take points off each other. The issue in Scotland is that the old firm are very dominant on the whole. 99% of the time, the old firm win 90% of the points or 99% of the points. Yes, there is the odd weekend when the shock occurs, like our defeat to Ross County, like their defeat to Hearts or to Killie. But 99% of the time, the old firm wins. You do not see points being dropped with the same regularity you would see in Belgium, in France, in England, because the level of competition is not as high. And that's no disrespect to Hearts, to Killie, to Dundee, to St Mirren. But, Celtic destroyed St Mirren 3-0 on Saturday. Whatever the performance was like, they still won 3-0. Whereas in France, in Belgium, if you had Genk versus Anderlecht, even if Anderlecht were 4th or 5th, they would still give Genk probably a stronger game than St Mirren would give Celtic. So I think he is slightly out on that one. He does need to start to really get his head around the fact that, Scotland, you don't have the level of competition that you do in Europe, in the European leagues. That's just how it is, unfortunately. Geordie says in the live chat, team should have felt that knock in the second half when they put 2 goals past us in 4 minutes. I agree with you. There should have been a jolting into action. There should have been a response there. I think one of the things that's lacking is a real captain, a real genuine leader on the park. Someone who can knock heads together, shake shoulders, get in people's faces. A Souness type. I know he was a manager, but he was also a good. He was also a leader on the park. A Terry Butcher, for example, a Barry Ferguson, someone like that, who, when it's not going your way, gets the players together, knocks heads together, shakes shoulders, gets in people's faces, and turns it round. I agree. How many players are booked for getting stuck in against Ross County? 0. No fight. Agreed. 100%. Now the game at Takahishi's Castle is a must-win. But do we have the bollocks to get over the line? Great question, Ziggs. I really do worry about Parkhead. I really do. I wouldn't be beyond this team to win at Parkhead, then go and get beat the next week. Kevin, that is spot on. We probably could do that, actually. Go and win 2-3-0 at Parkhead and then go and get beat off Killie there next week and hand them title back. Very, very Rangers. That would be very, very Rangers. What else did he have to say in his post-match, in his pre-match presser? He said, we're only looking at Dundee tomorrow. It's always one game at a time. That's what I expect with the full squad. They need to give it their all. Look, I know there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen post-split, where things are going to go post-split, who we're going to play, when we're going to play them, what's happening with the title race. Look, when you're a Rangers manager, you have to deal with all the outside noise, all the verbals about, what's going on. Can we catch Celtic? Are we ahead of Celtic? Can we maintain that gap? Can we beat Celtic? As a Rangers manager, as a Rangers fans, as a Rangers team, you have to deal with the outside noise of the old firm. But he's right, I suppose. He is right in the fact that he is saying we deal with this one game at a time. And tomorrow is an absolutely massive game. I know it's Dundee. I know it's Dens Park. I know it's a swamp. I know it's awful surface, but we've got to go out there and win. It is a must win. If we don't pick up 4 points tomorrow, then you can quite categorically say this title race is properly done and dusted. I think it's hanging by a thread, 100% hanging by a thread. It really is. But we've got to win tomorrow. If we do not win tomorrow, it's over. It's done and dusted. It's finished. Ziggs, great question. Who's next in line for captaincy? It could be someone Phillipe Clement buys. Live chat, let me know. Let me know. Stuzo says we'll pump them 3-0 at the Dome in the third last game, but we'll be out of it at that time. We're bottlers. It's that simple. I mean, we've done it before, haven't we? That was it. Was it the last season? Beale's Rangers beat them 3-0 at Ibrox, but the league was done because the pressure's off. The pressure's off. You know, I read a statistic this morning. I think in 39 games or 38 games or something like that, with James Tavernier as captain against Celtic, he's won 9. He's only won 9 in 39. That is a shit record. That is an absolutely really, really poor record. Yeah. He says, Phillipe Clement won't say there is not one team in the world who wins titles by being the best every single game. The good teams are those who don't lose belief after bad results. Yeah, he's right. You know, the good teams are the ones who can bounce back straight away. But I'll repeat what I said. In Scotland, it doesn't really work like that to some degree because of the way that the Scottish League, you know, if we had a Scottish League where Aberdeen, where Hearts, where, you know, Hibs, where one of those other teams were up there competing properly with Rangers and Celtic, then yes, you could say that was true. But in Scotland, because it is so focused on us v them for everything, it's about minimizing your bad results and minimizing the effect of those bad results and getting draws for your bad results and absolutely limiting the amount of defeats that you get. I think it's 6-7 defeats we've got now, which is far too many in a season. Far too many in a season. You know, in terms of building towards next season, Clement came out with an interesting comment. He said, I will get to know the team better in order to make the best decisions for next season. These are important moments to show as a player what your mentality is. I think that's a really fascinating comment, especially that last bit. These are important moments to show what your mentality is. Look, I'm genuinely hoping that Phillipe Clement is starting to see some of these players for what they genuinely are, which is a bunch of bottle jobs. Players who you cannot rely on when the going gets tough. Players who will let you down when the going gets tough. Players who, not because they're terrible footballers, but because they are so mentally scarred by so many years of falling behind that lot. There's kind of a inbuilt fear of that lot for me. And because of that, players like Tav, like Goldson, like Barisic, like Lundstrom, you know, can perform well against some of the Diddy teams and can perform well sometimes in Europe. But when it comes to that lot, there's kind of a mental block, a mental wall comes down, and it's kind of a, oh God, it's them. We can't do anything against them. They're like a kryptonite to them. It's almost like a kryptonite to Tav, Goldson, and Lundstrom, and that is a real worry for me going forward. Now, he talked about, obviously, Tavernier. I think, obviously, you know, he's recognised Hearts stand up and fight, then we don't. But we don't. Shocking. I agreed, Owen, absolutely. Likes of Silver and Campbell are all fairies. He spoke about Tav quite clearly. He's aware of the criticism that Tavernier is getting in the media at the moment and from the fans at the moment. He said, when things go well, the captain is the main man. And when things go wrong, you get more stick. That is the part of the job. And Tavernier is aware of this. Interesting. Quite clearly saying that, you know, that I think to him, Tav's still the main man. Tav's still someone he wants to depend on. Tav is still, you know, very much part of his plans. Bit worrying. Bit concerning. Like I said, I do think that Tav, that Goldson, and Lundstrom are undroppable. I think they're untouchable. Absolutely. 100% untouchable. I mean, he's right. You do naturally, as a Rangers captain, no matter who you are, whether you're Tavernier, whether you're Ferguson, whether you're John Gregg, whether you're Terry Butcher, no matter who you are, you get stick because you are the focal point of the team. You are the leader of the team on the park, and you will get the criticism and the stick as a result of that. Of course you will. That's just life. That's just being Rangers captain. But it's about stepping up in the moment. It's about leading at the right times. And I honestly feel that Tav does not do that. He does not lead in the right way at the right time. And he didn't do that on Sunday. When we needed a captain, when we needed a leader, was he there? Was he there? No, he wasn't. So that for me is the thing. And I think it's something that Clement needs to address next season. I think it is definitely something he needs to address next season. As to who the captain's going to be, I don't know. Genuinely don't know who it's going to be. You know, it could be someone that Clemons signs. It could be in the squad. I don't know who it's going to be, but I think there does need to be a change of captaincy. I think if next season Tavernier is still the Rangers captain and he's still leading this team out, then that is big trouble for this team. Big trouble. Keith Robertson says, Brendan Rodgers has lost one Old Firm game in 2 spells at Celtic. Look at the big picture. It's over. Ross County ended the title race. Fact. The Kopansky, I'm not quite sure what that's about. Flight. Tav has a greeting face, always moaning, time to go. I think the scar tissue runs deep with Tav, Goldson, and Lunny. It's bleeding down into the new lads coming in and up. Absolutely. Tav is sponsored by Pampers. He's always shitting himself, and he's always very disappointed. Stozo as well. Always very disappointed. Yeah, he's always ready to learn. The face on Suter from Tav's crossfield pass should become a meme. Yeah, I think there was a... For those of you who can lip read, he did actually say, "What the fuck was that?" I think was quite crazy. Clement finished off by talking about Dundee. He says Dundee have nothing to lose tomorrow, and they will go all out to win this game. Our situation is about keeping the focus on ourselves. Sorry, RFC 56. I'm talking too fast. I do apologise. Yeah, Dundee have nothing to lose tomorrow. Dundee are, genuinely have nothing to lose tomorrow. They're top 6. It's decided now. The top 6 is set. We all know the top 6 now. We all know who is in that top 6. So look, at the end of the day, that is set. Dundee do have absolutely nothing to lose tomorrow. They really genuinely do. So they will go all out. They will attack us, I think, and have a go, because if they lose, it does not matter to them. It genuinely does not matter, because they have already qualified for the post 6 to be in the after split 6 that are the top of the league. So he genuinely doesn't. They don't have anything to lose. So he's right in that, and they're going to have a right go at us, and it will be a test. It will be a huge test for us. Of course, it will. Massive test. Huge test. Tell us again who is leaving in the summer. So the players who are definitely going in the summer, Roof is out of contract. McLaughlin is out of contract. Lundstrom is out of contract. Jack is out of contract. Silva will be end of loan. Seema could well be end of loan as well. So they're the ones that are definitely going in the summer. As to who needs to go in the summer, that's an interesting one. This was my list from the end. This was my list from the other day, from the video I did on Monday. So the players that I think need to go at the end of this season to give us the best possible chance to actually, kind of give us the best possible chance to succeed. Tav, I think, needs to go. His time is up. Goldson, his time is up. Lundstrom, his time is up. I mean, the talk of him wanting a 3-year, 30 grand contract is a joke. Jack, look, I've said a million times, I love Ryan Jack. I think Ryan Jack looks a good player. He really does look a very, very good player. But he's injured too much. He's just injured way too much. So he's got to go. Borna Barisic obviously is going in the season. Kieran Dowell, I think Kieran Dowell's a decent player. Don't get me wrong. I think he is a good player, but he's injured way too much. He sits in the stands way too much. So for me, Kieran Dowell is another one that needs to be gone. Scott Wright has to go, because I honestly don't know how Scott Wright gets in the team. Ben Davis, another one. I think he needs to go. Roof, look, Roof's a great striker. He's a good striker. He's a good finisher, but he's injured too many times. Dessers has got to go. 100%, he's got to go. He lets us down way too many times. Lammers, Kevin, and Hadji, another one. Look, as much as I would love to see Hadji come back and have a go, I do think his heart's not in anymore. I do think he wants out. He wants to go to Spain. So, I think he does need to go. 100% does need to go. No, I don't think so. Look, RFC 56, you're right. It's not realistic for them all to go. We don't have the money. That's the big issue. Yes, we could get rid of all those players, but we'd have to try and rebuild a squad with next to nothing. You're right. You're not sure. I don't know what the problem is. One thing that really worries me, RFC 56, is this. Where's the money? Because John Bennett said at the AGM the other day, whenever that was again, I can't remember when it was now, he said that they would back the manager in the transfer window in January, right? That's what he said. That was the quote, okay? But then Phillipe Clement tells us that he had to borrow money from the summer transfer budget to pay for players in the January window, which tells me that there was no money in January, that he didn't back, the manager wasn't backed in January. So what are the board playing at, and what's the truth of the matter? Who's telling the truth? Clement? Bennett? Well, I know who I trust. I trust Clement. I don't trust Bennett. John Bennett is I think a lot of people need to remember, John Bennett was there when Douglas Park was there when Stuart Robertson was there. He's part of that failed regime. So that is a worry. It is a worry. What else have we got here? Johnny says, bring back Arfield, miss the salute. I do too. Absolutely, we could have done with him. Could you imagine him coming off the bench? He's a player who could have made a big difference. Dessers is useless, I agree. Alex Lowry is another. Yeah, he probably will be on his way out this summer. You're wrong. It does matter to Dundee. They're going for a place in Europe. Get the blinkers off. It's just it's not just about a title. Keith Robertson says, Keith, I'm basically telling you what the manager said. Okay. I'd also offer Jack a contract, but he has to give up playing for Scotland, says Geordie. I can see that, but for me, he's out injured way too much. That's the problem. Really is the problem. I've just missed my mouth. How can you miss your mouth? That is the press conference. Tav Goldson thing is a big one. Wonder what Clemons thinking. RFC 56. I would love to know what he is thinking about Goldson and Tavernier. Look, for me, they've got to go in the summer. They have got to go in the summer. It's a no-brainer. It is an absolute no-brainer. You know, they've been good servants for the club. Don't get me wrong. During 55, you know, Tav gave good service to the club. Of course he did. Goldson gave good service to the club during 55. But for the last 2 seasons, they have not got any better. And the problem is, and I know this is really unpopular with fans who don't want to let them go, but as you get older, you slow down. As you get older, you lose a step. And Goldson and Tav are getting older. They're both over 30 now. They're not going to get any better. They're not going to develop. They're not going to improve. That's just life. That's just life. So it's time for them to go. Time for them to go. UEFA would demand they fix the pitch if they were going to end up in Europe. I imagine. Agreed, Kevin. That is not a pitch for a Europa League or a Conference League team. Stuart's talking about booking flights. Cool. Goldson must have something in his contract that states he has to start every game. Geordie, I wouldn't put it past him. I genuinely wouldn't. I despair with him. I genuinely despair how bad it has to get before he is dropped from the team. And I genuinely think, you know, that even if Balogun was fully fit, that Clement wouldn't change it. He says, is there any money to buy players? Well, John Bennett says there is, but I don't trust John Bennett. I don't trust John Bennett in the slightest. Right, guys, that is the reaction to this afternoon's podcast. Not even a podcast. No, it was a press conference. That was it. That is the reaction to this afternoon's press conference from Phillipe Clement. Some interesting things. Obviously, the headlines from that press conference is that Diomande and Yilmaz are definitely out tomorrow night. So it'll be either Barisic or Sterling at left back and Diomande out of the midfield. Sterling, if he goes to left back, will mean that it probably will be Lundstrom and one other from Raskin, Dowell, or Lawrence. I'd like to see Nicholas Raskin given a run out. Don't think he will be, but I would like to see him given a run out tomorrow. The other headline that is coming out is Balogun is doubtful, not fully fit. He has been sick, so therefore is likely not to play. Right, guys, just a quick sort of heads up. Before tonight. Obviously, podcast tonight coming up later, guys. Please come and join us for it. It is the Fan Interactive. Glasgow Rangers Nation Fan Interactive. Guys, if you want to come on the channel, if you want to appear on screen, your chance to come on and talk about whatever Rangers topic you want to talk about. Only rule is no sectarian or racism. Keep the swearing to a minimum and be respectful. They're the 3 rules, guys. If you want to come on screen, but you don't want your face to appear, just don't enable your camera. That's the best way to do it. All you have to do is press stop cam, and then that comes up. Okay, that's what comes up if you press stop cam. Okay. That's it. What else have we got? Taking these tubes? Absolutely. No problems. RFC. Okay, guys. So come and join me later. Yeah, fair play to them, Geordie. Fair play to Wrexham. Fair play to Rob McElhenney and the other geezer, whatever his name is again, Ryan Reynolds. Fair play to them. Although James McLean celebrating at the end is James McLean is an absolute prick. Thank you for watching this podcast, guys, this press conference reaction pod. Absolutely fantastic talking to you. Thank you to anyone who's joined us. I know it's a difficult time of the day to join, but thank you so much. We'll be back tonight with the Fan Interactive. Please come and join us for that. Thank you for watching. We are the people.